Thank you, Chanel. Hi, everyone. I'm Shannon Kendall with American Crafts, and we are memory keepers. And I'm excited to be in class with you today to help you to learn how to elevate your small business using an amazing tool, the ShotBox. So Ali Dosdell, who is a spokesperson for We Are Memory Keepers, has done past classes on the ShotBox, and I wanted to switch mine up a little bit and do it a little bit different. So I'm not going to cover a lot in detail of the basics of the ShotBox. So I suggest if you're brand new to ShotBox, you're still going to get a lot out of this class, but also go back on michaels.com and find the past classes that Ali has done, because she walks through as well all of the different setups. I'm going to show you how to do it as I'm working through, but today I wanted to focus more on angles of shots, how to style your shots, how to play around with your ShotBox to get the best photos so that your small business can really grow because your products are highlighted with this beautiful lighting on your photos. Okay, so first I'm going to start by showing you the ShotBox. So this is the ShotBox. It lays really flat. It comes with a few things. It comes with a bag. There's also a really nice neoprene bag that holds all your backdrops and everything. Ali goes through that in her videos and her classes. And it's so handy because it's really lightweight. But all you do to set up your little portable light studio is pull up on the top, the back drops down, clicks into place, and that is it. So it does have these little sidebars that I'm going to add to mine for a little extra stability. It's up to you if you want to use those. Also with this class, I apologize if my back is to you. Okay, so there is a port on the back where you plug it in. It comes with the power cord, and then you just turn this knob right on the front, and that is how you bring up your light source inside this box. So you'll notice, like, I can dim it. There it is off. And then bringing up the light source to really full and bright. So depending on what end result you want, you can play with this knob. There's also a setting on this side where you can click it to have the light source just coming from one side or the other. So there's full, and there's the other side. So there's a lot of options. You'll notice that this has an hourglass shape. So these interior walls are going to reflect that light down onto your project for this beautiful, even lighting. Okay, we're going to jump right in, okay? And I'm going to just start showing you some tips for styling beautiful photos. So first of all, I wanted to show you these. These are, I've mixed mine together. So there's two backdrop kits that are sized perfectly to fit in the front and the back of the ShotBox. And these backdrops have, some of them are Photoreal, so you'll see like some textures coming through there. And then there's some that are just solid colors. And I use mine together all the time, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. Okay, first type of shot that I want to show you, okay, is just a flat lay from overhead. Okay, so I'm just going to choose this marble backdrop, if you can see that. And I'm just going to lay it right in the bottom of my ShotBox. Now I'm going to be shooting from above. And so I'm going to set up my whole shot right inside here on this faux marble countertop. Now I'm going to be showcasing a product that I've made. These are little handmade soaps. So I want to put them in a setting that kind of feels like what you would use these in. So there's all different kinds of things you can do to promote your products, but this is one way that I like to do it. So if I was to just put these in here, they'd look like they were maybe sitting on a kitchen or a bathroom counter or the edge of a tub, but I want to add more visual interest than just that. So I might take a shot just like that, just the soaps on the backdrop. But one of my favorite things to add in is botanicals. So Michaels, as you know, has a beautiful floral section. So you can use live botanicals if you have them. Right now it's winter in Utah, so everything is brown and yucky. So I'm using beautiful Michaels foliage, and I'm just going to lay this down on top of that backdrop. Then I'm going to take my soaps, and I'm just going to place them strategically on this leaf. Now it's up to you if you want to tilt your botanical or have it straight. Again, with taking photos, I suggest taking a lot of photos and trying a lot of different things. So I'm tilting my soaps. You'll be able to see my final photo in just a moment. I'm tilting them at an angle because it creates a little bit of movement in the shot, and it's a little bit more interesting. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my phone and open my camera. So you can use the ShotBox with your phone camera, a tablet, or a DSLR. So you can use any of those with them. I'm just using my phone because I really like the camera on my phone and their editing is really easy on my phone. But really, it's up to you what you want to do. I've done both, so it's fine. Okay, so you'll notice on the top, I'm going to go to the shot on the top. There's all of these openings in the top of the shot box. That is so that you can just set your device right on top and frame your shot. So you can turn it so it's exactly how you're going to see it, up and down. You can angle it if you want to angle your shot, because always you're going to do a tiny little bit of editing, right? So you're going to crop it down to the right size through your social media platform that you're using your images on. So I'm going to do mine just straight on. Now, one tip that is really important when you're shooting from a device is not to zoom in on your device. So you're going to want to do that cropping and zooming in a photo editing software, because on a device like a tablet or a phone, if you're zooming in, it's just zooming in digitally because the lens isn't moving in and out like it does on a DSLR. So your lens isn't getting closer. It's not making an adjustment in that way. It's doing it digitally. So you're going to end up with more pixelated photos, and that's not what we want. We want high quality, beautifully lit photos, right? Okay, so I'm just going to leave it full screen. Go ahead and just tap my photo, which I love because I can just set it there and not get any motion, right? So it's just one quick little tap and took a picture. Okay, I'm going to have Chanel put up photo 1 so you can see what our end photo looked like. See if technology works for us today. Oh yeah, okay, there it is. So she shared her screen. So that is the end result that I was able to get using the ShotBox. So you'll notice that around the leaves, there are still some shadow, right? But I like that because it creates some depth to the shot, right? And you can see that the motion of the soap moving is really pretty. Such a beautiful end result. Okay, now I'm going to show you some other options you can do with these same products, okay? My biggest tip when using ShotBox and styling is just to play and try a bunch of different stuff. Okay, I'm going to change out my background. I'm going to use a tile. So again, this is a Photoreal tile, kind of fun. Okay, and I'm going to put that like it's a backsplash. So I'm just going to stand it up at the back of my shot box. There's a little edge down there that you can set it into, and it holds it right into place. And I always put my back one in first, because then when I bring my bottom one up against it, it creates that nice seamless horizon line. Unless I knock it over. Okay, if that happens to you and your backdrops are falling, they should just stand. They're pretty sturdy, but you can just put a little bit of washi tape in there too to hold it in place if you need to. Okay, we're going to shoot at a different angle. So we shot from the top of the shot box. Now we're going to shoot right in through the front. So I'm just going to stand my soaps up. Now this is a fun way to use depth of field. So you do have some depth in here. It goes in pretty deep, and I'm going to stagger my soaps. And something that I like to style with are little bits and pieces of whatever you made your product with. Okay, so these are just my little soap dyes. Just going to set those in there. These are orange peel soaps. So I had some dried orange peel that I made. So I'm just going to take that and sprinkle it right in here. Let's see. Okay, now don't worry about getting anything on these backdrops because they are coated, and so they are wipeable. So you can do, we'll do food crafting in a little bit, and you'll see that if you get frosting on them, you can just use a damp cloth and wipe them down. They're really durable, and you can clean them up really nice. Okay, so now I'm going to come around to this side and try a different angle. So I did my flat lay, and now I'm going to just look through my phone and find an angle that I like. I like to look through while I'm setting up my shot, because when I'm staggering like this, I like to be able to see a little bit of space between my two items so they don't blend into one. And you'll see that in a second. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and hold my phone this time and take that photo. Okay, let's show photo number 2. So these are just standing with a front on shot. Okay, so there's my photo 2. Okay, so you can see that little gap that's just a sliver of a gap between the two soaps so you can see their individual soaps. When you're lining up your shot, my back soap is actually pretty far back. It's probably a good finger's length back from my other soap, but when you get your final shot, you can see that you can't really tell that as much. So I like to create that little gap between the two so they don't blend into one and confuse the eye. Okay, so there are some shadows in this shot, right? So I want to do something to help that a little bit. So I'm going to add, I'm going to turn up my light, and I'm going to add this little tool, which is the side shot. So this is an additional ShotBox accessory that you can get at Michael's. It has an arm basically that comes up from the back. And what's cool about this is it has light strips on the back. So it actually adds more light and gives you another angle. Now I'll show you how to put it in this first time from the top angle. So these holes right here line up with this little ridge on the side shot. So I can pick any hole and just slip it in there, and then it holds it in place. And then this is also adjustable. So you can move this around and tighten it down. This is also adjustable. So if you're using a tablet and you need a bigger surface, you can open it up like that, right? So cool. Okay, and so we need to plug in our light source. So there is a port for it on the back. It's labeled, it's on the back of the shot box. Ooh, I don't know if you could see that, but I saw the light come up a lot brighter, okay? So what's cool about this is I can move it forward. So if I don't want the light so direct, and I can also, let me turn this down so you can hopefully see in there. I can angle it up and down, right? To get a different look on the shot and a different look in the box. Okay, so there's different ways you can still adjust your light. I'm going to turn this down a little so that you can still see what's inside and see how that's on there. I know that light, it's tricky for filming. Okay, so, but it's beautiful on your end results. Okay, you can even move it over to the side if you want a different perspective, or if you want your light source to be coming from the other side, right? Just kind of like with our toggle switch. All right, I'm just going to place this front and center. On the side shot, because of where our cameras are on our phones right there, find where your phone camera is, and you need to line it up with this hole. So with mine, I have to go upside down. Okay, my phone is upside down. Oh, get it to turn back on. Okay. All right, so now I can see on my phone into the shot box, and I can adjust my angle this way. And you know what I'm noticing? I'm noticing that I can't really see the fronts as well from this higher up angle. So I could do this freehand too, just by holding my camera up here, but I love the extra light that I get from the side shot. So that's what I usually gravitate to. Okay, so I'm going to change the angle. I'm going to turn off the light in here so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, so just turn it on a little bit. I'm just going to move this for a second. Okay. All right, I'm going to change the angles of these soaps. And these are some of my favorite little props to use when I'm photo styling. These are just those cheap little wedged foam makeup sponges, okay? And they are awesome because you can lay them flat and then prop something up on them to give them a little bit of an angle. So you can see I can lay my soap down. Now I could even try leaving that one standing up, but I think I'm going to try it with both of them laying down. Okay, since we're shooting from this angle, now the fronts of my product are up and showing where they need to be, right? Showing off what I want to show off. Okay, and you can play with these again. All right, I'm gonna bring my side shot back in so that I can take the photo. Okay, and I'm not gonna zoom in, I'm just gonna take it and I'll edit it later in my editing software. Okay, so I just took that photo. So that's photo number 3. Let's take a look at that one and see the difference. Keeping Chanel on her toes. Okay, so here we have more light from the front. You can see the shadows that are cast by the soap, but you can also see that the angle is just slightly different, right? It gives a variety, but you can still see that product showcased really beautifully. Okay, so fun, right? So there's 3 different ways that I styled just the same product over and over again. Okay, turn this side shot off for a second. I want you guys to be able to see how I'm styling. So that's going to be coming in and out, and I'm going to turn this light down so you can see inside how I'm styling, okay? We're going
Hey,
to play
Shannon,
with what yes.
we do have a couple quick questions.
Awesome.
So the first one is, how do you prevent glare on shiny products such as a journal cover with a glossy finish?
Okay, so I'm going to play with glare in just a second, but some tips are try shooting from a different angle. So like as you're setting up your shot through your camera or your phone or your tablet, you can move to different angles to find the one where you have less glare, right? Because you're actually seeing it live in your phone. Your phone settings, also a lot of phones, you can tap on them and lock a good lighting situation. So if you find one that you like, tap and hold on an iPhone. And I know on mine, I just tap and then I tap lock and it stays. And so I can, if I shift a little bit, I'm not going to mess up that perfect lighting that I found. It will lock it in until you hit the camera button. Another thing is to play with your light source back and forth. So you can, I'm just going to move that out of there while we talk. You can toggle your light from side to side or turn your product in the ShotBox slightly to reflect that light differently, right? Okay, so until you find the right one. Play with the light on the side shot. That really, really helps to light and to, since you're getting it from all sides being reflected in, and then from the side shot, you also get it reduces glare just naturally that way. Turn down the intensity a little bit, right? And then work in your editing software to bring it back up again if you need to. That will also reduce glare. And then there's also these little tools. These are little glare reduction bars. So these just have magnets and they just click in and they can redirect that light a little bit. So let me do it on this side where you can see better. I don't know if you can see it in there, but there's little magnets that it lines up to. Okay, so can you see that it kind of changed? So I'll take this out. Okay, so see how that's reflecting on the wall up there? And then when I put that back in, it's just a little glare guard. So it redirects the light more directly out instead of straight down. So that can also help. Sometimes you want a little bit of shine. Like if you're showing off a really beautiful food product, right? You want something that has a little glisten to it, right? On your beautiful icing. Or if you have a gold foil on it, you might want to just play with your angle until you get that gold foil that's just shining perfectly so it shows the image off really well. Okay, I'm going to switch my backdrop. So now I'm bringing my tile back from my back down to the bottom so it can look like a counter top. Okay. And put some blue texture in the back to kind of be my wall. This is also a bath product, but I wanted to show you how you could use texture as well. Okay, so things to style with. These are just cute little bowls that I had in my house, in my kitchen. So you don't have to buy specific stuff. You usually have cute little things that you can use. I like throwing in a towel. Fabrics are a great way to add texture and interest. Just going to set this up. And another thing, again, my botanicals, right? So this is just a little faux plant, but they look so great when they're set up. I could leave these all stacked in the bowl, but I'm actually going to like kind of play with this, like put a couple out onto the towel, just kind of play with it a little bit. Okay, and I want to show you 3 different versions that you can do with this one as well. Okay, so I'm going to turn up my light. I have my side shot going. You'll see it really intensifies. Look at that difference with the side shot. Okay, so I'm just plugging in the USB at the top to turn it on and off. I'm going to leave it off just so you can see what's inside while I'm working, but I did shoot this photo that you're going to see using the side shot. Okay, I'm going to angle it. So I like playing with the angle too, right? So you can go straight on. We'll do a straight on. And we'll show these side to side. I'm going to show you different ones and we'll just flip through them all. Okay, I'll show you how I set it up. Now I'm going to tilt my side shot way up and do one that's more from a higher angle that's looking down into the box. Okay. And then the last one I'm going to do is again from the top. Okay, so I'm just going to take my side shot off and come in from the top and reframe my image there, okay, and do a flat lay. All right, so let's take a look at those photos. Let's start with photo 4. So this was the one from straightforward. I kind of want to show you the difference that it can make just by simply changing your angle. I didn't change anything else in the styling. Okay, so there's the first one. So that was straight on from the front. right? And I cropped it in a little tight to kind of showcase those bath bombs. Okay, let's look at photo 5. So this is the one that's angled from above. So you can see I didn't change anything with the setup, just the angle of my camera on that side shot, right? Pulled it up. Now you can see down into the bowl a little bit more. You're getting a wider contextual view. So you can say, oh, I see this is like something you use in your bathroom or on your kitchen counter, right? Okay. And let's go with the next one, photo 6. This is the flat lay from above. Okay, so now you're really focused in on those bath bombs, right? You're getting a little hint of the botanical, which I just love, that little green popping in. The fun texture from the striped towel and the tile. It just shows it off really well. So that's what I mean about playing around, right? You play around with how you're setting it up so that you can try some different things. Let's switch this up again, okay? Let's do something else. I tried to like kind of think of things that maybe you guys are so creative and you have such amazing products that you're probably making and selling in your small businesses. But I tried to think of some things that, you know, are common things that I'm buying off of Etsy or from makers. And if I was to sell something on Etsy, I would probably make books because I love hand stitched books. So I made this little stack of journals. So this is what they look like. Little rainbow stack of journals here. Okay, and I'm going to find some different creative ways to shoot these for the Etsy store, right? Or my blog, my website, or my Instagram shop. Okay, I'm going to move these out and grab some new backdrops. Okay, the first backdrop I want to show you are the ones that come with the ShotBox. So these are infinity backdrops, and what that means is you will not have any seam at the back on that horizon line. So the two that it comes with is black and white. I'm going to set up with the black one because I think you can see it better. Okay, so it rolls out like this. If yours comes and it's a little wrinkled, I didn't do it to this one, but I should have. You can flip it over to the back, mist it with a little bit of water, and use a low setting on your iron and just iron the back to straighten out those wrinkles. Okay, so in the back of the ShotBox, there's two little hooks. Let me turn this light down so you can see. I don't know if you can see it, but there's two little hooks that line up with these little loops right here. Okay, so you just hang it on there. It's nice. It just stays. And then you can adjust this as you want. I usually just kind of put it toward just a little bit off the front. Okay, and now the first shot I'm going to do is just a straight full front shot of the spines of my books, because I think that shows off the stitching. So think about your products that you're selling. Think about what am I trying to showcase, right? So I want to showcase that those are hand stitched. Now, if I just set them in there, you're going to see that top one's going to slide back. That's where these little wedge sponges come in handy again. They hide really well in photos. And I found that if I just pop one of these between the yellow and green ones, it helps them stand back up straight. Okay, so see the difference? I'm not losing it sliding off the top now. Okay. All right, and I'm just going to do a straight on shot. I'm going to put my side shot back on. I'm going to move it because I want it pretty low. So I'm going to move it a little forward. Okay, and I'm going to play with that. One other tip is when you first put the side shot in, it tends to have a little bit of wiggle. Like, can you see that? Like it wiggles a little. So wait for that to come to a rest before you tap your phone photo, because then you won't get any weird movement in your photo. Okay, so let's show photo 7. And you'll see that infinity backdrop, how that works. Okay, so on that screen, like you can't even tell where the box stops and the backdrop stops, right? So it's really putting all the focus on that bright color in the colors of my little books that I've made. Okay, so there's black. Now let's show photo 8. I want to show you the difference between the black and the white. So photo 8 is on the white. Okay, so see how you have that perfect seamless back, like they're just floating there. So on these, I left some white space at the top because I liked that if you wanted to, you could digitally add text up there, right? You could promote your product. You could put a little cute little tagline up there digitally in your photo editing software. I like Photoshop. That's what I use, but you can use even just an app on your phone if you don't want to have to learn like a whole new software program. There's some great photo apps out there that allow you to add text and words and images and different things up there that are really fun. So I would always do one on black and white because I kind of liked how the color popped on the black, but then I also like some things about the white where I could see the edges of the pages. So just play around and try different things. Okay, let's try something else with these books. Okay. Just going to move that off again so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take these out, remove my infinity backdrop, and these I just keep rolled up normally. Okay, so I'm going to do a top shot, another flat lay, but I'm going to combine multiple backdrops to get a variety of colors. So you can stack these up in here and make a variety of color. Okay, so I'm going to go pink, and then I'm going to go about halfway and do teal. Now I'm just doing a straight line. Let me turn this down so you can see. Okay, so I'm just kind of doing a straight line, but you can play with the line, and you can also play with the line with how you put your product and your phone on. Okay, or your camera. Okay, I'm just going to go about halfway. Okay, and then I'm going to take my sponge out of here and I'm going to try something different. So I'm going to be shooting this way. I want this line to be the center of my photo. So I'm actually going to frame my shot this direction. And I'm just going to fan out my books so that you can get a little peek of each of those books in the shot, right? Sorry that my back is to you guys. Okay, and again, if it helps you too, usually I'm working on a desk level table. This one's a counter height table. So if you need to get a little step stool, just keep it nearby by where you're setting up your shot. And you can step up on it and see those flat lays better, especially if you're working through your DSLR because it's a little bulkier, but you can just shoot right through the hole just the same way. Okay, I'm going to just adjust these a little bit, looking through my phone to set up the shot. Okay, and see, I can slide around. I could use this hole if I wanted to, but I'm going to use that dead center one since I'm fitting so many books in this one shot. Okay, go ahead and take that picture. Okay, let's show photo 9. All right, so there's photo 9. So that is showing a little spread of my books out in a fan, and having the two colors is kind of fun and playful with this specific product. It's bringing out some of the colors in my product to showcase. There's pink that's running in multiple places. So with design, you're wanting to look for 3s and 5s. Odd numbers are your friends. So when you're playing with that, you also want it to be in visual triangles. So I have that happening with the pink, 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 right? So your eye is going to follow that line across. It's really, really pretty awesome. Okay, so let's try something else. Now, if I wanted to, I could tilt these a little bit and have that line will actually end up showing like a diagonal just because of how I turn my phone or how I turn my product in there. So if I did it more straight and went across the diagonal, you could see that line starts to look crooked, right? Okay, so you can play with that as well. It's really fun, really easy. You could do more than 2 colors. You could keep stacking colors and have a whole rainbow in here if you wanted to. So fun, so easy. All right, I'm going to flip my pink up the back wall. And I wanted to show you this cool feature here, the ShotBox itself. This base right here lifts out and it's black on one side and it's white on the other. So even there, you don't even have to put a backdrop in the bottom. You can just use the base of the ShotBox itself. Okay, so when I was using these before, I was showcasing a lot of this front book, but not so much the ones behind. So I'm going to go pull some from the middle that I can showcase a little bit more in this next shot. I'm a fan of options. Okay, we're going to do that depth of field thing again and shoot from the front. So this one has some foil on it. Hopefully I caught some of that in my photo. Okay, and I'm going to stagger them a little bit. Okay, so I'm kind of seeing a little hint of each one. I like using the Sideshot when I'm shooting from the front because it's steadier than my hand. But if you're really steady, you could do it freehand too. Okay, putting it upside down on there. I wiggled my shot, knocked down my backdrop. Stand those back up again. Sorry, you're seeing my back again, guys. Okay. All right. I'm going to angle that. I'm actually going to come forward one so I can get as low as possible and as straight as possible. Okay. And just hit the button. Okay. Let's show photo 10. Okay, so there we have, looks a little dark on my screen. Hopefully it looks as bright as it normally is on yours. That's another thing. Color balance on your computer monitor might not be exactly the same as on your phone. So you may have to adjust it once you get it on your computer if you're going to load it that way. But so there I've showcased just with a simple pink background, a little hint of the other books that were hidden before in the stacks and the fans. Okay. And then I'm going to show you one more. Just to show how many different ways you can shoot the same product. I go back to my teal backdrop, and I'm just going to put that on the bottom. This time I'm going to pull another one that hasn't been focused on yet. So I'm going to pull from some more that haven't really been focused on. Okay, I like that white polka dot in there though, so I'm going to throw that in. And I'm going to take this off so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to do another flat lay. And similar to what I did with the soaps, I'm going to style it with some of the things that I used when I was making my books. So this was using a fun Vicki Boutin collection. I can pick them up off my table. So I have all this fun ephemera and some of my tools like my stitching. This again tells the story of that I hand stitched the books, right? And I'm just going to lay down some of these. Now you can tuck little pieces of ephemera, like I just tucked one behind this book. You'll see it in the final photo. This one is fun because it has that shimmery foil. I don't know if you can see that. So if you shoot it correctly and with your light source and finding the right angle, you can catch that butterfly on that angle. Let's see. And then I think I also put in a little enamel pin just for some more texture and shine. Okay, so now you'll notice I've got my three things. In this next photo, you'll notice I've got an ephemera, enamel, right? So I'm working in 3s and 5s. So I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that I'm styling with. 3 books. So odds are your friends. They just look prettiest in shots. Okay, and I'm going to do another flat lay from above. I'm going to slide over a little bit so that my camera is catching everything, making sure I like the positioning of everything. Okay. And then let's go ahead and look at photo 11. Okay, so there's our photo from above. So you can see on that butterfly and on the enamel pin, it's good to have a little bit of shine there because you're actually seeing that it's foil, which is kind of fun, but it's still showcasing those fun books in a new way, right? So I like to style with things, but I try to keep it somewhat minimal when I'm focusing on a product because I want my product to really shine and to be the focus of the shot. Okay. If I start throwing too much ephemera in there or too many other things in there that it distracts actually from the design of the final product that you're trying to promote. Okay, let's try some food crafting. Okay, love food crafting, love all the beautiful things people make. And I am going to switch these out again to look a little bit like a kitchen, but looks different than what I did from the bathrooms. So this is like a concrete looking piece. So I'm going to pretend that's my concrete countertop. And then this is a barnwood backdrop that I'm going to put in the back. So easy to switch those in and out. Now, I love using these because they are wipeable, especially with food crafting, but you could use whatever you want in there, right? So you could put all kinds of things in here as a backdrop, and I'm going to show you some other options in just a second. So I wanted to show you on this how I can actually use some pretty big canisters. Let me just turn this a little bit so you can see it better. Okay, so that's my flour jar, and I have a little sugar jar. I like these because I'm going to turn it down so you can kind of see them better. Okay, these because I love these natural textures and how simple they are, but they still are showing and telling a story. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of tuck those as far back as I can get them. And then I have these cute little cupcakes that were in one of the food crafting classes this week. I snuck them out away from the food crafting so that I could use them in this shot. Okay. And so I'm just going to set up my little cupcakes in a way so that they all kind of show off. And this is a tiny little wooden cutting board. So natural materials are really beautiful in photos. So I like to have some of those in my stash. Okay. I'm going to just turn this just a smidge. Okay. And I'm going to shoot this one again using my side shots, my favorite. I love using it from the front. Sometimes when I'm shooting with DSLR, though, I just go ahead and freehand hold it because I'm a little more steady with that one. Are there any questions while I'm getting this set up?
We have had a couple questions.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. Some of them you did answer as you were going through, so I didn't want to interrupt you for those ones. Do you have any recommendations on how to reduce shadow on jewelry, especially pins?
I'm going to show you some bracelets. I just want to kind of turn this off so you can see what I'm setting up in here. And I'll show you some things that I did with that. But again, when it's shadows and glare, it's just playing with adding more light from the front, toggling. Like really, if you just keep playing and angling your piece. So maybe how you're displaying, if it is too straight up and you're just getting tons of glare, maybe you need to angle it a little bit, right? And use a little wedge sponge or put it on something else besides something that's so vertical so that you can tilt it a little bit or turn it a little bit. Those tiny little adjustments will make all the difference in shadows and in glare. Okay, so if you're playing around also in your photo editing software, you can go in and soften shadows a little bit, but this really does take care of a lot of the shadow if you just keep playing with your light source and your angle. So it really is awesome and easy to use. And if you haven't tried it, if you have tried it and you're having troubles, then I would say change your angle, make sure you don't have a prop or something that's casting a shadow from in front of your item, and that you can have the ability to tilt just slightly or turn just slightly whatever you're displaying your item on so that it can cast different shadows and pick up different reflections. Okay, I hope that helps. I know I'm kind of sounding like a broken record, but really that's what it is. That's how you improve, is just practice, 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 try a bunch of different angles, try a bunch of different things, play with the light source options that you have. I'm going to turn this off so you can see this while I talk about it. Okay, speaking of how I'm playing with things in my ShotBox, okay? So I put these all the way to the back, like they're touching the back wall. And I put this cutting board as far forward as I could so that I could have those canisters kind of do the depth of field thing. Depth of field is where it's kind of a little blurrier in the background and the things up in front are sharp. Okay, so on my camera, turn this back on my camera, it has a food setting, which is actually really fun to use when you're using, let me turn off my side shot so you guys can still see. Okay, so I'm not working exactly like I would, right? Because I want you guys to be able to see inside my ShotBox. On this shot, normally I would turn it up pretty bright and use my side shot light as well. Okay, but I want you to be able to see what's going on in there. Okay, so on mine, I have a setting that it like knows when I'm shooting food and it says, do you want to use your food mode, right? And that has, on my camera, it just gives me this little circle that I can move around and I can put it wherever I want to on the food item and it will naturally sharpen that area and blur out whatever is in the background. Okay, so play around with your phone setting. Mine isn't picking it up right now that it's food, of course. to show you, but there is a food mode and that's really fun to use. And I'll show you the end result of that if we can show picture 12. Thank you, Chanel. I'm keeping you on your toes for sure. Okay, so in this photo, you can see that even though my cutting board was way forward, right, almost off the edge of my shot box, when it's cropped, you can't even tell that. And then you can still see that it's kind of in a kitchen setting. The flour and sugar in there helps tell the story. And then I focused my food filter on my phone right on that little penguin guy. And so he's really sharp. And then you'll notice the polar bear cupcake is a little less sharp. The snowflake's a little less sharp. And the flour and sugar is much less sharp. Okay, so that's putting your focus and your viewer's focus right on that front product. Okay, so you can style with other elements that are the same. So you can, all of these things I'm showing you, like this is a food crafting situation, but you could do this with earrings, right? If I had little earrings on little easels or something and they were standing here, I could showcase one pair of earrings more than the other by pulling it a little bit forward, sharpening my focus on that and letting the other stuff kind of blur out in the background, but it still is showing off multiple products in one shot, which is really fun. So it's like, you're focusing on one, but you're showing off your whole collection of things that go good together and feel good together. Okay, let's do one more shot with this. And I wanted to show you how to angle up. So I'm going to actually, since I already focused on my little penguin guy, excuse me, I'm going to move him out of the shot and I'm going to focus more on this little, this one is a snowflake. It's really cute. I'm impressed with our food crafting team. They make beautiful things. Okay, and then I'm going to angle up and move my side shot all the way to the back. Now, when I come to this very last hole at the back, there is the power source back there. So you can see it's actually lifting my side shot up pretty high. But I want that for this shot. Okay, I'm going to actually scoot this back in just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm just going to use my food filter to select that cupcake, right? And snap the photo. Okay, and then this one I went in and cropped it, but you can still see the food filter, so I wanted to show you that. And you don't have, it doesn't have to be food to use your food filter. Like if you like that look, play around with all the different filters on your phone and all the different effects on your tablets and phones. That's kind of another reason I like playing around with these, but if we can show picture 13, it will show you a different shot that focuses more on the polar bear and the snowflake. Okay, so you can see that it's still a little bit blurry around the edges, but the snowflake is crisp on the sides. So, and that shows the cutting board and the countertop more. And even though you can't read the whole word flower, you still know that's what it says because the story is told through what you've styled your photo with. Okay, isn't that snowflake cupcake cute? I know, I like it. It's made out of fondant, it's so pretty. All right.
There's a couple people asking if what photo editing software you use or what would you recommend?
So I just got really familiar with my phone. Mine is an Android phone. It's a Samsung phone and it has a really great camera. It has like a ton of different lenses back here. And I know the iPhone is very similar to it. And the software that's just on my camera app is actually really good. If you go into your settings, so when you've opened your phone and you go into your settings, I'll show this up close on the camera. This one's mine. So there's a section where the three little dots where I can go in and, oh, sorry. And there's all these different modes you can use, right? There's the food filter. Do you see it right there? Okay. So there's all these different modes you can try playing with. You can also go up here in your settings and change your camera settings to be whatever you want. There's usually a place to go in and control your settings just like you would on a DSLR. And then when I go actually into my photos that I've taken, I can just edit them right in that editing software. And I actually use these a lot. It's got these boxes where you can tell it you want it to stay square. So like if you're going for Instagram, it keeps everything the same, right? You can add filters. You can change the brightness. There's the brightness control. Okay, so really just getting familiar with your phone really does help. And then, but on some of these photos, I wanted to even tweak it more. So my phone automatically syncs to my Google Photos. And so I just went in there, downloaded them and used them on my laptop with Photoshop is what I have. But really Lightroom's great, Photoshop's great. But I would say if you're brand new and you just want to try getting a hang of it and seeing what you like in your style of photos, to try playing with the settings on your phone. And there are some good photo editing apps out there. Can't think of the one that I've used most recently off the top of my head. Sorry. But if you look out in your app store, find one that has the features that you're looking for. If you want to be able to do depth of field, if you want to have certain filters or whatever to get the mood that you're looking for your brand, start there because those apps are so user-friendly and fun and easy to use. Okay. One more thing I wanted to show you with food styling is I have this pretty little domed cake. And I'm trying to give you guys some tips of what you can style with. So this is just a quick example of how a basic little cake plate is so cute and so fun in a shot. So if we could show shot 14, and I didn't change my backdrop at all. I just took everything out and did this one super simple. I'll show you shot 14 of how pretty this little cake looked once I shot it. Okay, so there's that pretty little cake. That one I shot using the side shot again in the same way. So it's kind of above, but I shot it in a way that you can still see the bottom of the cake plate so that it has context. You could shoot it from straight on if you wanted more of that cake plate to show, but I really wanted to show off that swoop on that chocolate on the top and that pretty detailing work. If I was shooting this again, I would probably shoot more light from one side or the other so that I could get the glare. I actually want a glare on the shine of that icing. So I would probably, it's kind of showing me a shine on the white, but to catch a little bit more on the pink, I would probably switch my light source on the front of my shot box to either left or right and see which one got me the best shine. So that's another food example. Now, another fun thing to use when you're styling shots, just like I styled with the orange peel at the beginning, you can style with sprinkles. It's a really fun thing to use, or, sprinkle some flour. And again, you don't have to worry because these can just be wiped off. Okay. Oh goodness, I'm running out of time and there's so much I want to show you. So I'm going to pick and choose. I'm just going to show you some photos now of some things using natural textures and some other things you can use to style. One of my favorite things to use are vintage books. So this is just a stack of vintage books that I found at a thrift store. Okay, and I just found some in a color scheme that I like. They're kind of neutrals. I look for some where they don't have anything on the spine. And if I don't want the spine to show, I'll flip them around and shoot from that side. And they're really fun because you can stand things up on them like this. You can lean things against them. So let's show photo 15 to just kind of show how I use those books. Okay, so there's a straight on shot. So I just used the backdrops again with a natural wood one on the bottom, a pink texture in the back. I angled my card slightly so that you could still see that it's standing and that it's an actual card and that it's standing on a fold. And then just used those books kind of as a base to lift it up higher for that full straight on shot. Okay, let's go to shot 16 now to show just how I changed it up just barely. Okay, so this one is from above. So all I did was I just pushed that stack of books at the top, just back slightly. So they staggered a little bit so I could catch the color from the stack below. Twisted my plant a little bit till I liked how it looked from above and then laid the card flat. So that's another way you can use those natural tones. It's really warm, just depending on the feeling that you want. So I've shown you bright, I've shown you clean and white, and now this is more like the warm tones that you can style with. Okay, thank you. All right, one more thing I wanted to show you was jewelry. And then there's some exciting new accessories that I want to introduce you to. Okay, so these are some fun things to style with. So these are natural textures. So I've got wood slices of all sizes. I'll move so you can see. Okay, and then this was just a mat for like dog bowls, but you flip it over and it's totally pretty on the other side, right? So I am just going to lay these in here. Okay, so in my photo, I used some natural wood backdrops. I'm just going to explain it to you and not actually do it in the ShotBox because I want to have time to show you the new stuff. So I just stacked them up basically like this. Okay. And I had a wood panel below and a wood panel in the back. All right. And you'll see in the photo. And then I took my jewelry items and I thought, what is an easy way that I can use these together with the wood slices? And I thought, well, for these bracelets, they fit perfectly around these little wood slices. Okay. So I was able to just line them up. I like making jewelry too. It's kind of a fun thing to do. And I just used the bracelet on the wood slice. Let me move this so you can see better. To kind of hold itself up. And they just stood on their own with the bracelet there. Okay. So you'd fiddle with these and get your beads where you wanted them. And if you had a focal bead, you'd put the focal bead in the front, right? Maybe change the angle so they're not all angling the same way. Like maybe this one could go straight. Okay, so you just play with it a little bit. Okay, and then let's show photo 17. Okay, so there's photo 17. So you can see all that natural texture. That one's coming up on my monitor a little dark, but it's not dark in actuality. So I hope it's looking good for you guys. But you could increase your light source, bring it up again in your photo editing software. It's a really, those natural textures are so pretty and warm. They work especially well because the colors in these bracelets pop off those neutral tones. So pretty and so fun to use. And so when you're using all these neutral tones, it's good to use them with a little pop of color because then your auto white balance on your cameras and everything will work right. So that's that. I just wanted to show you that texture. One more thing I want to show you is that you can use the Sideshot to do hands-free video. So leaving this set up like it was, I just put my camera on my Sideshot and I got to get back to camera mode. And I just switched it to video. And now on video, you can zoom in and frame your shot. So it's filmed differently. You're not going to lose your image quality. So you can actually zoom in and out however you want to. Okay. Since you don't want to have to crop out the sides. Now, normally I would have had a piece of wood back there, right? And so what's awesome about this is it's hands-free. So I can just hit record, right? And I can move things around or place them and do a little process video, something like that. You can also take this side shot and flip it all the way up like this. I don't know if you can see that, okay? And you can move it all the way forward too if you want even more space. And you can just film a video with both hands in it, like right here, hands-free, right? Working on your table with your camera up high like this, and you're just working right below it, okay? And it works really great. So, you know, you could do, if you were showing a process of actually like a process video where you're actually making an item on camera for your reel, you could do that using it this way or using it down this way and just placing things. So let's show video 1 real quick, so that you can kind of get a feeling of just something simple that you could do. So there's my little setup. Right? So that was just a quick little something that I did really fast to show you how you can do the hands-free video. And those are fun for reels. And the lighting is really good, especially when you're using the Sideshot to film with. Okay. Some new things I want to show you. You guys, I'm so excited. Okay. Let me move all this stuff so you can see. All right. We've got a few new products that I wanted to show you, and starting with this little guy. Okay. So this is a SpinShot. I'll put it down here so you can see it. Okay, so this is the SpinShot. It looks like this at Michael's. Okay, All right. And this is awesome if you have a product that you want to show in a 360 view in a video. So it spins, so you can place it right inside your shot box to get perfect lighting. Okay, I'm just going to stack it right on top of everything. It has a USB cord and it is battery powered, and you can make it spin clockwise or counterclockwise. Okay, so you can kind of see how that's looking, how it spins. Okay, SpinShot, perfect for tumblers, something you want to get a 360 view on. Okay, it will hold up to 15 pounds. And it also comes with 2 bigger plates that you can set on top. So if you're like, my item is way wider than that 4.5-inch base, well, you just sit down the 8-inch plate and then you have a lot more to work with. And it kind of looks like a little cake plate. It's a bonus prop. Okay, and then it also has the black base. So let's show video 2. Just to get an idea of what you can capture. Okay. So that's coming across a little bit chunky, like it's kind of glitchy on mine, but you can see how you can edit your little video and do a complete spin around of your product. It's really fun, really easy to use. I'm excited about it. Can't wait to do some reels with it. Okay, so that was the first new thing I wanted to show you. Second new thing I wanted to show you is we've been having a lot of requests about a bigger space than this, 14, 15-inch space right here. So let me put this down and move it out of the way. I'm actually going to show you a shot drop. So we have come up with a new way to do a backdrop that's 20 by 20. Okay, so this is the shot drop. This is what the packaging looks like at Michael's. It's so easy to put together. So you have these 2 panels. I have the equipment in my pocket, and you just have these 2 little angled bars, and you just slide the backdrops into them. So it comes with a black side and a white side. Okay, so you can just click that on there. Let me move these backdrops out of the way, out of table space. And then you click it. Hard to show on camera, but it's actually really easy to do. Okay, so click in one, click in the other side. Of course, because I'm trying to do it on camera, I can't get it in there because of the stretch. All right. Okay, so you have 2 of those. Sorry. It stands up on its own, I promise. I'm just running out of time, so I'm like trying to hurry. Okay, so it has another one of these for this side. Okay, and it stands up on its own. And then it has these great big double-sided backdrops. So there's the patterns on 2 sides, so you can set them up, and then it comes with these little, you can see which side goes where because there's a little notch. Again, the tip is to put the back one on first. I only have 1 minute, okay? And then you slide the bottom one in. So if you have a large item, like my big old globe right here, can we show photo 18, our last photo? Oops, photo 18, yep. So that was shot on the ShotDrop. So this one you're going to be using natural light, or you can use a panel as a reflector. So there's tips in the box of how to use this with your natural light. That one, that photo you're looking at was shot with natural light. And then the very last, real quick, I know we're out of time, last product that I want to show is this swing arm clip. So this is a mountable arm for doing process videos, reels, and photography. So this expands, you can put your phone in here, clips to any table, right? Like this, so you can shoot from above. It's fun because this rotates, so as you're filming, you can have it on you and then flip down to what you're showing. It's really fun and easy to use, and it also comes with this, which is a little ring light that clips onto your device. So when I was actually taking pictures of the globe on here, I just put the ring light on my phone to add a little bit more light and then angled it toward my window. So there are so many new fun products. Go check them out at Michael's. Your business is going to do amazing things when you have beautiful photography to showcase your beautiful creative work. So I encourage you to get familiar with it, to keep trying, playing, experimenting with how you're styling and how you're lighting, and your business is going to soar. Thanks so much for being in class.